So students, till now we have studied about mutations. Now we'll move to the next part of this principle of inheritance and variation, and that is human genetics. Student, what do you mean by human genetics? Human genetics means if we study the inheritance of human characters, if we study on humans, then that part is known as human genetics. You can see the study of genetical characters and aspects like genetic improvements among humans, that is known as human genetics. So students, what is the need of study on humans? So what is the need? Students, if we talk about humans, then we want to improve the race of humans. So if we want to improve the race of humans with the help of genetics, with the help of principles of inheritance and variation, then it is known as eugenics. So you can see it means as it is known as eugenics. So eugenics means a well-born, means with the help of principle of inheritance and variation we can form a well human and we can improve the human race. So now students, we are going to start the human genetics. Students, if we talk about human genetics, then it is not easy to study. It is not easy to study on humans. Why it is not easy? Then various points are there. You can see cells of human body are relatively small and number of chromosomes are very high. So it is very hard to study on humans. Next point is it is not possible to perform various experiments on human in laboratory. You cannot perform experiments on humans in laboratory. So it is very hard to study humans directly. Third, due to the greater lifespan of humans, you can see lifespan of humans is very large. But on the other hand, if you talk about pea plant, if you talk about Drosophila, then their lifespan is very low. Their lifespan is very less. So you can easily study on them, but on humans study is not easily, and you cannot study directly on humans. Next point, rate of reproduction is very slow. If we talk about Drosophila, then in advantages of Drosophila, one point I have discussed, that single mating could produce large number of flies. So you can see large number of Drosophila, large number of flies are obtained, but here it cannot occur. In humans only 1-2 humans can be formed. So you can see rate of reproduction is quite slow in humans. Individuals of human species are generally heterozygous. Students, if we talk about Mendelism, then in Mendel said that in techniques of Mendel, first step is selection of pure parents. First step is selection of pure parental plants, but in humans homozygous characters are not homozygous characters are not present. Mostly characters in humans are heterozygous and many characters are quantitative inheritance. Quantitative characters are present in humans like human height, human skin color, human intelligence. So you can see humans are heterozygous for many characters and many characters are quantitative. And one more important point which is mentioned in NCERT, that controlled crosses are not possible in humans. So in pea plant we can do controlled hybridization. Any type of hybridization we can do if we want, but these type of controlled crosses are not possible in humans. So students, you can see direct study on humans is not possible. So we perform the indirect study on humans, and tool of indirect study on humans is pedigree analysis. So what is pedigree analysis, that I will explain you. But students, after seeing all these points, you can see study on humans is not easy, but then also we want to study on humans. So what is the necessity that we want to study on humans, that I will explain you on next slide. So you can see, despite of above mentioned problems, after seeing all these problems also, humans are considered suitable for studying genetical experiments. By first point is longer life of span of humans. Due to this longer lifespan, many abnormalities can be easily identified. Second, particular with the help of pedigree analysis. Pedigree means a family tree can be formed, and with the help of this family tree, various inheritances can be easily checked, like hemophilia, color blindness and many other diseases. So study on humans is also important because we want to improve the race of humans with the help of genetics. So study on humans is very important, but we cannot study human directly. We have to form some indirect methods to human study, and one of the indirect method is pedigree analysis. So let's start the pedigree analysis. Student, what is pedigree? Pedigree means a family tree. Pedigree means tracing a family history. Suppose if we form a family tree, suppose it is grandfather's father, all the family tree is created. So pedigree is a type of family tree, and pedigree is formed to check the inheritances, like we can check the inheritance, we can check the any type of inheritance of any type of disease by forming the pedigree. So you can see the analysis of traits, in several of generation of family is called the pedigree analysis. In pedigree, family tree is formed, and with this family tree we can easily check the various inheritances. Why pedigree is important? You can see in human genetics, pedigree study provides a strong tool which is utilized to trace the inheritance of a specific trait, abnormality or disease. Means with the help of pedigree analysis we can easily identify the various differences, in particular with the help of pedigree analysis we can easily identify the various abnormalities, we can easily identify the various inheritances. So let's start this pedigree analysis. But students, before understanding this pedigree analysis, it is very important to note various symbols, because we can make a pedigree, we can make a family tree with the help of various symbols. So let's start with symbols. You can see for forming a family tree, some symbols are very important. This is a square box which is a symbol of male, normal male. Second symbol is circle. This is a normal female, means this male is normal, no disease is there in this male. This is a normal female. Next, this type of symbol is sex, unspecified. And this type of symbol, if suppose a shaded square, a shaded circle is there, then this is affected individual. This is affected male, this is affected female, and this is sex, unspecified. Some more symbols are also there. Suppose if this symbol is there, then this is a symbol of mating or marriage line symbol. If suppose this symbol is there, then this is a mating between close relatives, mating between relatives. This you can also say consanguineous mating. Student, these both symbols are very important, asked many times in exam. In particular, match the following thing. Next symbol is like this. Here you can see these are the parents and offspring. So you can see parents above and children's below, and these siblings are indicated in chronological order. Means this is the first one, this is the second one. So this is the chronological order is shown. Some more symbols are also there. You can see parents with male child, parent with male child affected with disease. You can see here both normal parents are there, but male child is affected. So in this way you have to understood the pedigree, you have to form the pedigree with the help of this symbol, and this symbol means 5 unaffected offspring. So student, these are the whole symbol. Now I will explain you that how you can check the inheritances. Remember students what I am saying, then now I am going to explain you that how you can check the inheritances in pedigree. So let's start with first inheritance, which is Y-linked inheritance. Y-linked inheritance. Student, here I am giving you some clues, and with the help of that clues, when you observe these clues, then with the help of these clues you can easily check the inheritances. So here you can see a pedigree is there. In this pedigree you can see son are affected. In this pedigree you can see if father affected, then all sons are affected. If this clue is observed, if suppose in any pedigree this clue is there, if father affected, then all sons are affected, then that inheritance is known as Y-linked inheritance. Here you can see father affected, son affected, father affected, son affected, mean all the sons are affected, or you can say directly passed from this inheritance, characters are directly passes from father to son, and this type of inheritance is Y-linked inheritance. So always remember, if in any pedigree you observe that father affected and all the sons are affected, then that pedigree will be known as Y-linked inheritance. That inheritance is Y-linked inheritance. So again, let's move to the next inheritance. Now, how to understand the sex-linked inheritance? So we will move to the first, X-linked dominant, or you can also say sex-linked dominant. If suppose if father affected, then all daughters are affected, then that particular pedigree is X-linked dominant. Sex-linked dominant traits are more common in females. Remember, these are particular more common in females, and some examples are defective enamel of teeth and pseudo rickets. In this pedigree you can see father is affected and all daughters are affected. Students, suppose genotype of father is like this, X capital A Y, X capital A Y, and you already know when daughter is formed, then daughter receive one X chromosome from father and one X chromosome from mother. And if suppose this X chromosome goes in daughter, then you can see this X chromosome has capital A. Suppose this capital A can cause disease, then daughter will get affected. So remember, for X-linked dominant, the clue is if father affected, then all daughters are affected. If father is affected and all daughters are affected, this type of inheritance is there, then the answer will be X-linked dominant, and you can also say sex-linked dominant. And examples are defective enamel of teeth, and one is pseudo rickets. Now student, we will move to the another part, which is sex-linked recessive or X-linked recessive. X-linked recessive or sex-linked recessive. The clue for sex-linked recessive is if mother affected, then all sons are affected. As we all know, son receive one X chromosome from mother and Y chromosome from father. Suppose if this is a pedigree, here suppose mother is affected, here particular disease is color blindness. Now this is a genotype of color blindness. You can see small c, as you already know that recessive gene can express in homozygous condition. Suppose small c can cause color blindness, then you can see the genotype of mother is X small c. Then now on this male, this X chromosome came from this female, so this male genotype will be X small c Y, and as you all know, male is hemizygous for X and Y chromosomes. Then you can easily see if mother is affected, then all sons are affected, then this inheritance will be X-linked inheritances. And remember, this sex-linked inheritances is more common in males. Sex-linked dominant, if you on the other hand, if you talk about sex-linked dominant, then sex-linked dominant are more common in females, but this sex-linked recessive is more common in males. Example are, which is very important example, color blindness and hemophilia. This color blindness, hemophilia, I will discuss with you in Mendelian disorders. In very detailed way, I will discuss the both disorders. So this is X-linked recessive. Now students, we will move to the autosomal trait. First, we will look to the autosomal recessive. Student, these autosomal traits are very important because you can see if you talk about humans, then in humans number of autosomes are more. So mainly the genes of disorders or genes of disease are located on autosome. So mostly the diseases are autosomal disease, either autosomal dominant or either autosomal recessive. So let's start the autosomal recessive, that how you can identify the autosomal recessive in a pedigree. Student, if in a pedigree, you can get this symbol, this type of symbol if present in pedigree, then the pedigree is autosomal recessive. What is this symbol? You can see both parents are normal. Both normal parents may have affected child, then this condition will be autosomal recessive case. Students, suppose of autosomal recessive, three genotypes are there. Suppose this is capital A, small a, small a, small a. Suppose small a is a disease which can cause, small a is a gene which can cause disease. Now small a is recessive gene, so it can only express in homozygous condition. So this is the disease individual, this is the normal individual, and this individual is carrier, means normal but carrier. So if suppose this pedigree is there, then this individual will be affected. So affected individual means small a, small a. This small a comes from here and this small a comes from here. So ultimately the genotypes means both the parents are heterozygous. So you can understand that if this type of symbol, if this type of particular pattern observed in pedigree, then remember that pedigree will be autosomal recessive. Or you can say if both normal parents may have affected child, then the condition is autosomal recessive. One more point is there, autosomal recessive pedigrees shows generation skip. Student, what do you mean by generation skip? Generation skip means here you can see this is first generation, this is second generation. Here you can see first generation is normal, but in second generation some of the offspring is affected. So this is known as generation skip, means one generation is normal, but on the other hand second somewhat is affected, somewhat offspring is affected. So this is generation skip. If this type of generation skip, if this type of pattern is observed, then the pedigree will be autosomal recessive. On the other hand, if generation skip not occur, then the pedigree will be autosomal dominant. So this is very important point. So remember both the points. Both normal parents may have affected child. It shows generation skip, and some examples of autosomal recessive are sickle cell anemia, phenylketonuria, thalassemia, and cystic fibrosis. Sickle cell anemia I have explained you, and this phenylketonuria and thalassemia I will discuss in chromosomal disorders. Now students, after understanding this autosomal recessive, we will move to the next pedigree, which is autosomal dominant. Autosomal dominant. But before moving to the autosomal dominant, first I will explain you the pedigree of NCERT. You can see this pedigree is given in the NCERT. If you look this pedigree, then you can apply the clue. You can see generation gap is there. How generation gap is there? You can see this whole generation is empty. This whole generation is empty. But on this generation, somewhat offsprings are affected. So you can see generation gap is there. You can also see both parents are normal, but they have some offsprings are affected. You can see both normal parents may have affected offsprings. Here you can see, here you can see in this thing, both normal parents may have affected child. Now you can see both normal parents may have affected child. Generation skip is also there. So this pedigree is of autosomal recessive. This pedigree is mentioned in NCERT. You can see autosomal recessive trait. An example is sickle cell anemia. Any autosomal recessive can be there, but in NCERT sickle cell anemia is mentioned. Now students, after studying this, we will move to the autosomal dominant pedigree. Autosomal dominant pedigree. First of all, let's study the clues of autosomal dominant. So what are the clues? You can see if this type of pattern observed in any pedigree, then that pedigree will be autosomal dominant. What is that? This pattern, both affected parents may have normal child. You can see both the parents are affected, but they may have normal child, then the condition will be autosomal dominant. And here generation skip do not occur. You can see in both the generation diseases are there. If suppose generation skip, if on the other hand generation skip is there, if generation skip is present, the pedigree is autosomal recessive. But here you can see both the generation skip is not there, so the pedigree is autosomal dominant. An example, one of the example of autosomal dominant is myotonic dystrophy. Now I will explain you the pedigree of autosomal dominant, which is mentioned in NCERT. You can see this is the pedigree which is mentioned in NCERT. Here you can see generation skip is not present. In this generation also somewhat affected. In this generation also somewhat affected. So here you can see generation skip is not occur. So generation skip is not occur means the particular pedigree will be autosomal dominant, and for example myotonic dystrophy. So student, in this way you can easily solve the pedigrees. Remember, symbols are very important. By the help of pedigree you can easily find out any type of inheritances, Y-linked inheritances. If suppose father is affected and all sons are affected, then Y-linked inheritances. Then after X-linked dominant, X-linked recessive. Two main examples of X-linked recessive are hemophilia and color blindness. And always remember the autosomal pedigree. One is autosomal recessive, another one is autosomal dominant. Generation skip occurs in autosomal recessive. If generation skip not occur, then autosomal dominant. So this is all about the pedigree analysis. So students, till now we have discussed about pedigree analysis. In our previous slides I have discussed you the pedigree analysis. I have also discussed some points of human genetics. Now students, we will start the last part of this chapter, which is genetic disorders. So students, if we talk about genetic disorders, then these genetic disorders are classified of two types. First one is chromosomal disorder and the second one is Mendelian disorder. Students, if we talk about chromosomal disorder, then these chromosomal disorders occur when there is a change in structure of chromosome or there is change in number of chromosome. And student, this chromosomal disorder I have explained you at the time of mutation. At the time of chromosomal mutation, I have explained you the various chromosomal disorders, like I have explained you Down syndrome, I have explained you Turner syndrome, and I have also explained you the Klinefelter syndrome. So this chromosomal disorder part we have discussed in the mutation part. Students, in this part we are going to mainly discuss the Mendelian disorders. So let's start with Mendelian disorders. Students, if we talk about Mendelian disorder, then what is Mendelian disorder? So disorder which occurs due to alteration, disorders which occur due to alteration means change or mutation in the single genes So all the disorders which arises due to alteration or mutation in the single genes, these disorders are known as Mendelian disorders. And if we talk about the inheritance of these disorders, then these disorders are transmitted to the offsprings on the same line. Same line means they transfer from parents to offsprings, or you can also say that these Mendelian disorders follow the laws of inheritance. And if we want to study the inheritance of these Mendelian disorders, then inheritance of these Mendelian disorders can be easily understood, can be easily studied with the help of pedigree analysis. With the help of pedigree analysis. And student, this pedigree analysis I have explained you in previous slides. With the help of pedigree analysis, you can easily determine the autosomal inheritances, autosomal dominant, autosomal recessive. You can easily determine the sex-linked inheritances. So always remember that Mendelian disorders can easily understood with the help of pedigree analysis. But on the other hand, students, if we talk about chromosomal disorders, then chromosomal disorders cannot be understood with the help of pedigree analysis. To understand, to study the chromosomal disorders, we need the karyotyping, and that karyotyping I have also explained you at the time of Down syndrome, Klinefelter's and Turner syndrome. I have explained all those disorders with the help of karyotyping. So this is about the introduction of Mendelian disorders. Now we will move further. Students, if we talk about Mendelian disorders, then Mendelian disorders occurs due to change in gene or alteration in genes. So you can also call them the gene-related human disorders. Mendelian disorders are also known as gene-related human disorders. And these gene-related human disorders are again classified into two types. First, sometimes these gene-related mutations, these gene-related disorders are related with autosomes, and sometimes these are related with sex chromosomes. If they are related with autosomes, then they are called as autosomal disorders, and these autosomal disorders are again of two types. One is autosomal dominant, another is autosomal recessive. These sex chromosomes related gene mutations are again of two types, one related with X chromosome and one related with Y chromosomes. X chromosome related disorders are again of two types, X-linked dominant and X-linked recessive. And you all are aware that all these type of disorders I have explained you at the time of pedigree analysis. So it is very clear that inheritance of Mendelian disorders can be easily understood with the help of pedigree analysis. Now students, I will explain you some important examples of the Mendelian disorders. The example which I am going to explain you are mentioned in the NCERT. So let's check out the examples. If we look at the examples, then these are the very important examples, very common examples of Mendelian disorders, and all the examples are mentioned in NCERT. First one is hemophilia, second one is color blindness, third is phenylketonuria, fourth thalassemia, cystic fibrosis and sickle cell anemia. So students, out of these examples, two examples I have discussed you earlier. This phenylketonuria I have discussed with you, and this sickle cell anemia I have also discussed with you. This phenylketonuria and sickle cell anemia I have discussed you at the time of pleiotropism. Now students, you can see this hemophilia and color blindness, their genes located on X chromosome, and the recessive gene causes this defect. So you can say this hemophilia and color blindness are X-linked recessive disorder. Remember, hemophilia and color blindness are X-linked recessive disorder, while on the other hand this phenylketonuria, thalassemia, cystic fibrosis and sickle cell anemia, these are autosomal recessive disorders. So these are the some common examples of Mendelian disorders. Now students, we will discuss, first we will discuss the color blindness, after that we will discuss the hemophilia, and after that we will discuss the thalassemia. And these two disorders, phenylketonuria and sickle cell anemia, this we have discussed in the pleiotropism part. So now let's move to the next part, which is color blindness. Students, if we talk about color blindness, then this color blindness is X-linked recessive disease, or you can also say this is sex-linked recessive disorder. What happens in this disorder? Student, in this disorder there is a defect occurs in the red and green cones. You can see defect occurs in the red or green cones of eye, and due to this defect person is not able to differentiate between the red and green color, and that is the reason this disease is also known as red-green color blindness. Student, always remember the gene of the color blindness is located on X chromosome. You can see this defect is occur due to mutation in certain genes which are located on X chromosome. Students, if we talk about this color blindness, then always remember this color blindness is sex-linked recessive or X-linked recessive disease. And if we look at the frequency of this color blindness, then mostly color blindness occurs in male. You can see one statement is there, one particular statement, one particular data is mentioned in NCERT that it occurs in about 8% of males and only 0.4% of females. Means mostly this color blindness is observed in males. Why this thing occur? This thing I can prove you with the help of some statements, with the help of some genotypes. So now we'll move to the genotypes of color blindness. Student, if we talk about the genotypes of color blindness, then these are the genotypes of color blindness. These are the 2 genotypes of male and 3 genotypes of female. If we look at the male, then male has 2 types of sex chromosome, one is X and one is Y, and female have 2 X chromosome. You already know that the gene of color blindness is located on X chromosome, and that to the recessive gene. Means you can understand that small c gene can cause color blindness, but capital C gene cannot cause color blindness. With the mutation, this capital C converted into small c, and always remember this small c is located on X chromosome. So let's check the genotype of male. Suppose a male have genotype XY. XY means that particular capital C is located on X chromosome, but we have not shown this capital C, we have only written the XY. You can see if capital XY genotype is there, then normal male is there, but if X small cy, if small c is present on the X chromosome, then the particular male is affected. You can see here, students, with the small c gene, with one recessive gene also, male is affected. Now we will move to the genotypes of female. If capital X, or you can say X capital C, homozygous condition is there, then the female is normal. We have not mentioned the capital C, we have just written the XX, means normal female. But on the other hand, if female have genotype like this, X small c X, means presence of one small c is there, then in this condition female is unaffected. But here you can say this female is normal but carrier also. Students, if you compare both the genotypes, if you compare this genotype and this genotype, then you can see with one small c recessive, with one small c gene, or you can say with one recessive gene, you can see male is affected. With one small c, male is affected, but on the other hand, with one small c, female is not affected. Why this thing is there? Because male individual is hemizygous for X and Y chromosomes, or you can also say that male has only one X chromosome, and that is the reason that small c expressed in male, but in female small c is not able to express, because in females XX means a pair of X chromosome is there, and that is the reason that frequency of color blindness is more common in males, because in males only one of the X chromosome is present. If suppose by anyhow small c gene is present on X chromosome of male, then male is always affected, but in that case female will always normal but carrier. But if suppose small c is present on both of the X chromosome, then in that case female is also affected. So these are the genotypes of the color blindness. Now student, one more condition is of color blindness is there, which is very important condition, that a daughter will not normally be colorblind. Listen carefully, a daughter will not normally be colorblind unless her mother is a carrier, unless her mother is at least carrier, you can say, and her father is color blind. This line I can explain you with writing genotype. Suppose a daughter is colorblind. Colorblind daughter is this. So a genotype of colorblind daughter is X small c. So how this daughter can be colorblind? This daughter can only be colorblind if her father is affected. If her father is affected and her mother should at least career, then only this daughter can be colorblind. So this line is this: a daughter will not normally be colorblind unless her mother is a carrier and her father is a colorblind. So this is all about colorblindness. Always remember, colorblindness is X-linked recessive disorder, and the particular gene for the colorblindness is located on X chromosome. It occurs more commonly in male because in male presence of one X chromosome is there. Now students, after studying colorblindness, we will move to the next disorder, which is hemophilia. So now students, we will start the next genetic disorder, which is hemophilia. Students, if we talk about hemophilia, then this hemophilia is also called as bleeder's disease, and this hemophilia was discovered by John Otto. And the gene which is responsible for hemophilia is also a recessive gene, and that too located on X chromosome. So hemophilia is also a sex-linked recessive disorder, or you can also say this is also a X-linked recessive disorder similar to color blindness. Now students, if we talk about hemophilia, then what happens in hemophilia? So students, in hemophilia, if a particular human is affected with hemophilia, then in a person which is affected from hemophilia, in that person some blood clotting factors are missing. There is an absence of some blood clotting factors, and due to the absence of some blood clotting factors, there is a delay in blood clotting time. So this is all about the hemophilia, and if a person affected from hemophilia, then in that person there is a delay in blood clotting time, and due to this delay then in a simple cut, in affected individual there is a delay in blood clotting time, and due to this delay a simple cut will result in non-stop bleeding, and you can see due to this non-stop bleeding a person can die, and due to this non-stop bleeding this disease is also known as bleeder's disease. So always remember student, in hemophilia there is an absence of some blood clotting factors. Due to this there is a delay in blood clotting time. Gene of hemophilia is recessive gene, that too located on X chromosome, so it is also known as X-linked recessive disorder. Students, if we look at the inheritance of hemophilia, then this inheritance you can see that particular hemophilia, then in hemophilia you can see this particular hemophilia transmit from the unaffected carrier female to some of the male progeny, and this type of inheritance of hemophilia is widely studied. Now I will explain you this hemophilia with the help of genotype. So let's move to the genotypes of hemophilia. Now students, if we talk about the genotypes of hemophilia, then here you can see the genotypes for male. Suppose this small h gene is there. If capital H gene is present, then a person is normal, but we are not here, we will not write the capital H gene, we will only write the small h gene. And always remember, if a small h gene is present, then person can be hemophilic. This small h can cause hemophilia. So first look the genotypes of male. In male you can see if XY condition is there, then the male is normal. If small hy condition is there, then the male is affected. You can see small h here, only one small h is present, but that too can cause hemophilia, because in male hemizygous condition is there. In males only one of the X chromosome is present. But on the other hand, if we look at the female genotype, then XX female is normal, but X small h X, this female is normal but carrier. Here you can see with one H female is normal, that female is normal, but with one H here male is affected, because in male only one of the X chromosome is present. This female is normal, but this female is carrier. This female can cause hemophilia in further generations. Now if the genotype is this X small h, then this female is affected, but this genotype is very rare. Why this genotype is very rare? You can see the possibility of female becoming a hemophilic is extremely rare. Why? Because mother of such female has to be at least carrier, and the father should be hemophilic. And if father is hemophilic, then this father will die after the particular age. So you can see unviable in the later stage of life, and due to this condition, this particular genotype Due to this condition, this particular genotype is extremely rare in female. So here also you can see this hemophilia is more commonly present in males. So always remember students, if X-linked recessive disorder, these all X-linked recessive disorders are more commonly observed in male, their frequency is more common in male. Students, if we talk about hemophilia, then you can see the heterozygous female for hemophilia may transmit the disease to son. You can see, suppose this is a genotype of a carrier female. This female is normal, but with it, when this female forms the gamete, then one of the gamete has X small h and one of the gamete has normal X. Then if suppose this gamete transferred into the zygote, and so with this gamete a male can be affected. So always remember, this normal female forms the affected male. Here it is written, a heterozygous female for hemophilia may transmit the disease to son. Now the third point of the hemophilia is that this hemophilia is also known as royal disease. Why it is known as royal disease? Because this hemophilia was observed in the Queen Victoria family. The Queen Victoria is carrier for hemophilia, but the many hemophilic descendants was observed in the Queen Victoria family. But always remember, this Queen Victoria is carrier for this hemophilia. So always remember, hemophilia is also known as royal disease. So this is all about the hemophilia. Now students, till now I have taught you two particular disorders. One is color blindness and later is hemophilia. Both are X-linked recessive disorder. Now we'll move to the next disorder, which is thalassemia. So students, if we talk about thalassemia, this thalassemia is autosomal recessive disorder. If we talk about sickle cell anemia is also autosomal recessive disorder, and this thalassemia is also autosomal recessive disorder. Means the gene of thalassemia is located on autosomes, and this particular disorder occur when recessive gene is present. Suppose I can give you example. Suppose two genes are there. One is capital A and one is small a. This small a gene is responsible for thalassemia. So you can write the three genotypes, and always remember, as the gene of thalassemia is located on autosome, so there is an equal probability of male and female affected. There is an equal probability that male can also be affected and female can also be affected, because autosomes are common in both male and female. So three genotypes can be formed: capital A, small a, small a, small a. Suppose the genotype is capital A and capital A, then in this case a person will be normal. If capital A, small a, then in this case person will be normal but carrier, because small a is present. And here in thalassemia, male can also a carrier and female can also be a carrier. But if we talk about in color blindness and in hemophilia, in both the diseases male cannot be carrier, because in males only one of the X chromosome is present. So always remember, for thalassemia, for autosomal recessive disease, male can also be carrier, female can also be carrier, because autosomes are same autosomes are present in both male and female. So this particular genotype individual is normal. This genotype also individual is normal but carrier, but with this genotype individual is affected. So this is all about the autosomal recessive disease. Now we'll move to the thalassemia. It is an autosomal recessive disease, and you can see the inheritance. In inheritance you can see this particular disease transmitted from the parents to the offsprings. When both the partners are unaffected. Means if both the partners have genotype this capital A, small a, then with this genotype also they can have affected child. And this thing I have also taught you in pedigree, that when both normal parents may have affected child, and this type of inheritance is observed in thalassemia. Students, if we talk about thalassemia, then this thalassemia can occur due to mutation or deletion, and due to mutation or deletion there is a reduction in the synthesis of globin chains. Either the alpha globin chains is reduced, or either beta globin chain is reduced. You can see ultimately results in the reduced rate of synthesis of one of the globin chains, either alpha and beta, and that forms the hemoglobin. So this is all about the thalassemia, and always remember that due to the reduction in particular globin chains, there is a formation of abnormal hemoglobin which results into the anemia, which is a characteristic of this disease. So students, in thalassemia, I have explained you that thalassemia is autosomal recessive disorder. In thalassemia, particular globin chains synthesis is reduced. Either alpha globin chains is reduced or beta globin chain synthesis is reduced. So on the basis of this thing, this thalassemia is of two types. No, so you can see thalassemia can be classified according to which type of the chains of hemoglobin molecule is affected. Particular thalassemia is of two types. One is alpha thalassemia, the second one is beta thalassemia. What is alpha thalassemia? If production of alpha globin chain is affected, then it is alpha thalassemia. If production of beta globin chain is affected, then it is beta thalassemia. So we will first study the alpha thalassemia. Students, if we talk about alpha thalassemia, then two genes are responsible for this. One is HbA1 and second is HbA2, and both these genes are located on chromosome number 16. As you all are aware that one gene has two alleles, so here you can see two genes are there, so four alleles are there. So you can see these genes are located on chromosome number 16 of which of each parent, and it is observed that due to mutation or deletion of one or more of the four genes. Here four genes means we are talking about four alleles, means one or more alleles can be affected, and due to this you can see more the genes affected, the less alpha globin molecules are produced. So you can see if one globin, if one gene is affected, then the reduction is low. If more gene is mutated, then the reduction is very more. So you can see this particular disease is quantitative disease, and that point I will explain you in next slide. So this is all about alpha thalassemia. Now we'll move to the beta thalassemia, and here in beta thalassemia it is controlled by a single gene, which is gene HBB, and it is located on chromosome number 11. One gene means two alleles are there, so you can see it occurs due to mutation of one or of both the genes. So this is all about the two types of thalassemia. One is alpha thalassemia and another one is beta thalassemia. Students, if you compare between both the disorder, what is the differences between thalassemia and sickle cell anemia? So first let's check the similarity. The similarity is this, that both the disorders are autosomal recessive. But if you look at the differences, then always remember thalassemia is quantitative disorder. Why quantitative? Because in thalassemia you can see the quantity is affected. Sometimes less globin chain is formed, sometimes more globin chain is formed, means that it is a quantitative disorder. But on the other hand, sickle cell anemia is qualitative disorder. Why it is qualitative disorder? Because in sickle cell anemia, I have explained you the sickle cell anemia, that in sickle cell anemia quality of hemoglobin chain is affected. In the place of glutamic acid, valine is formed, so a quality is affected, but here quantity is affected. So always remember, thalassemia is quantitative problem, but sickle cell anemia is qualitative problem. So this is all about the thalassemia. So till now students, I have taught you three genetic disorders, three Mendelian disorders. One is hemophilia, next is color blindness, and third this thalassemia, and two disorders we have studied in pleiotropism, that is phenylketonuria and sickle cell anemia. So student, this is all about the theory of this chapter. We have covered the whole theory of this chapter. We have covered the Mendelian principles. After that we have studied various phenomena of post-Mendelism that are incomplete dominance, codominance, multiple allelism. After that we have also studied chromosomal theory, linkage recombination, pedigree analysis. So this is whole theory of this chapter. Now after understanding the theory, we will come to the questions of this chapter.